I can't let you slide through my hands. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. I watched you suffer a dull aching pain. Now you decided to show me the same. No sweet thing exists. Oh, off stage lines could make me feel bitter, treat you unkind. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. I know I've dreamed you a sin and a lie. I have my freedom, but I don't have much time. Faith has been broken, tears must be cried. Let's do some living after we die. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild horses will ride them someday. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild horses will ride them someday.
Stop. Well, good afternoon, everyone. There's a lot of love in this room today, and there's a lot of the color green. Family and friends, it's with heavy hearts and fond memories that we come together here today to remember the life of Russell Jonah Smiley. As you look around the room today, you may not recognize everyone, but know that we all have at least one thing in common, and that was Russell. He was special to each of us and impacted our lives for the better. On behalf of the family, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for the kind words, the prayers, the outpouring of love, and for being here today. People were important to Russell, and by your outpouring of support, we know that Russell was important to you. Russell was the firstborn of 3 children to Aaron, Indiana. Family was special for Russell, and there was nothing in this world that he loved more than his siblings, Cash and Ivy. Russell was a special and unique talent. He was artistic, a creative musician, and a prolific writer. He wrote his first song at the age of 10. He played multiple instruments, including the banjo, the bass, the piano, the mandolin, and the cello. But it was his guitar that captured his heart, and he would never put it down. He loved music, with his favorites being pop and punk. Russell had a big heart for kids with special needs. He would go out of his way to introduce himself to someone sitting alone. A friendly greeting and a loving heart were things that Russell willingly and selflessly shared with everyone. Russell knew what it was like to be different and unique, and he owned it. His creativeness, his uniqueness, and his quirks made him all one of a kind. He did things his way. In fact, I've been told that instead of getting baptized just once, that wasn't enough, so he got baptized twice. He was accepted into Orange County School of Performing Arts, accepted into the Creative Writing Conservatory program, and continued his high school with Spark Academy of Heritage Community in Provo, Utah. He was determined not to live a boring life and never wasted his time here. He loved his family, his friends, and his music. Russell touched countless lives and inspired all those he came in contact with. Even at the end, his doctors and nurses couldn't help but falling in love with Russell. As we remember him today, let us be determined to love people like Russell did, to change people's lives even in the hardest of circumstances. Family and friends, would you pray with me? Father, it's with heavy hearts that we join together here today. We ask you to be with us, to comfort us, to encourage us, and to help us through this time of loss like only you can do. We thank you for your presence here today as we remember Russell, and we thank you for the precious time that we had here together with him. Help fill our hearts with strength and our mind with fond memories of our time spent together with him. Let everything that we say and do here today honor you, Lord, as we remember your precious son and the life of Russell Jonah Smiley. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
My name is Smiles, Russell Smiley. I am 17. I invited a lot of people today because this is my first time performing original songs for an audience. So, yeah. Okay. Is that, sorry, that's kind of crowded. Okay. So, this is an original I wrote called Cul-de-sac Nightmares, and it's about how basically American society sucks. Preschool to high school to university, student debt, but at least you got a degree. And now you get a job, but it turns out the major isn't as fun as it seems. Too bad, concerning bad, you gotta pay your bills to support your family. That immediately met at uni who you decided to marry. Plus you can't go back to school cause too much. You were a fool. What happened? You were so innocent. Now your wife's pregnant. Cul-de-sac nightmares. Living out your worst fears. Monotonous, put it up just like your parents. You were always so lame. Cul-de-sac nightmares. Wasted your adult years. The American dream is not what it seems. It's not what it seems to be. yes, student debt be gone. Now you can quit your job, do what you want. Wait, cause once you get this promotion, you get 2 weeks paid vacation. Now your son finally going to college, maybe now he'll learn to use some of that knowledge. Dang it, Harvard, and he asks you to pay. Debt's coming your way. Now still at the job that you hate. Life is just the waiting game. It's okay, one day you'll retire, then your wife hands you divorce papers. Cul-de-sac nightmares, living at your worst fears, monotonous, unit up just like your parents, who were always so lame. Cul-de-sac nightmares, wasted your adult years. The American dream is not what it seems, it's not what it seems to be. Wife and kids are gone, alcohol is all of the happiness you got. Sitting in your recliner, wonder how your kids are. It'd be nice if they sent you a card. Now lay back as jazz music plays. So look back in your life and think, did I do okay? Didn't really feel all that great. No one's here, you're home all alone. Won't even find you or care when you're gone. God, this life is just cul-de-sac nightmare. Yours fears, monotonous, you ended up just like your parents. Only it was worse than you thought it would be. Cul-de-sac nightmares, wasted your adult years. American dream is not what it seems, it's not what it seems to be. The American dream is not what it seems to be on movies and TV. The American dream, oh, it's propaganda. The American dream, well, it doesn't matter. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored that my sister and Aaron asked me to speak and help open this this amazing time that we all have to just focus on Russell. This is a weird experience to get up here, so bear with me because it's hard to articulate. But I woke up this morning and I was in the kitchen and I felt Russell there with me, and I literally said out loud, "All right, Russ, let's do this." And I feel like he was there with me, so I'm just gonna run with that. Russell was born on my 22nd birthday. I was an aunt before I was a mom, and Deanna had all her kids before I had my first, and it was so fun being an aunt. Russell and I always had a connection, besides having the same birthday. He had that wacky sense of humor that he and I shared. I would babysit him, and I could act like Chris Farley or hang from his bunk bed like a chimpanzee, and he would just crack up. And he always understood my sense of humor, and I understood his. They say that people born on May 11th are creative and brilliant. Thank you. And unstable. No one can argue with that. He embodied he was just an artist from the moment he was born. And some of his goofiness came out as he got older. Like he would say the funniest things to me. He'd be like, "Hey, Auntie Angela." I'm like, "Yeah?" He's like, "From now on, I'm calling you Angelo." I was like, "Really? Okay, Russ." And then he would say things to me too, like he was so blunt and so like lighthearted at the same time. One time he said, "Auntie Angela, when you meet people, you don't have to give them your life story." I was like, "Okay, Russ, I love you." Our relationship was really strong, and then I just got too annoying, I think, for him as he became a teenager. Like there was one time he was on a FaceTime call with a friend. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put some wigs on and walk in the background while he's on FaceTime and just walk around and do it. And he was so mad. Auntie Angela, shut the door. Okay. But it was a joy for me because sometimes he, instead of being annoyed, he would laugh with me and we would share that wacky sense of humor that we both had. He had a huge laugh. I can hear his laugh. I can see him smiling every day and will continue until the day that I pass away as well. Russell passed away at 17, which is an interesting thing in our family because Deanna and our brother Adam's brother Russell died at 7, and they both had the same name. And I was curious about this. I was reading this morning about the number 7, and it's mentioned 700 times in the Bible, and it's known as the number of completeness. And there's something about the number 7. And there's the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. Number 7 has a symbol of being sacred. So I think there's just something to be said about that with our brother and with Russell having passed away at those ages. I also was reading about heaven. I believe that we will all see Russell again. Can I get an amen to that? Okay. So one of the things I was reading about heaven was that God has us be ourselves in heaven, meaning the gifts and talents that we have on this earth are the same gifts and talents we will have in heaven. So I see Russell rocking out on his guitar, blessing people in heaven. And there's another Bible verse I stumbled upon today, 1 Peter 4:10, that said, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others. And Russell was only on earth for 17 years and did that. He served others. He inspired people he was a singer-songwriter. He overcame being neurodiverse. He overcame so many different obstacles in his short life, and then he inspired people while he did it. And he inspired the doctors and the nurses. And one thing I would just like to say as well, that I'm almost 40, and I'm just now comfortable being vulnerable in front of a large group of people. And Russell did that at 17. He wrote his own songs, and he got up and performed them and didn't care what anyone think. But he was, I'm sure he was afraid to put himself out there, but he did it anyway. And he used the gifts that God gave him in the 17 years. So I would like everyone to, if you will stand with me and give him a round of applause for that, because that takes courage. And I'm just proud of him that he could use his gifts and talents. And I know that he's going to be playing music for all of us in heaven, and this is the saddest thing, but I'm glad that he gets to be with Jesus now, and he gets to do what he wants to do the most, and that's play music and and we're all going to join him someday. So thank you all. Thank you.
Not sure if the 9-volt in my guitar is not dead. So let's see if this works. And that is the answer to my question.
Wait, I haven't turned it on yet.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right. So my name's Unum Solum, I guess. That's just what I'm going by at this point. You can get stickers over at the front if you want. They're free, but just take one. But this first song I wrote, I'm autistic, and I wrote this song about how it's hard to communicate correctly in the way that people want you to. And it's called Gibberish, and I hope you like it. And I'm gonna lower this a little bit. me a second. Sorry. Okay. Ready now. Don't get me wrong, I wish these tunes could pay the rent. And I might say I'm fine, but it's probably obvious that that statement I just said is quite preposterous. These melodies are killing me, and yet I play them on repeat. And through the noise and the open voids, the girls and boys and mangled toys clap their hands in joy as the executioner lowers his axe as we laugh and 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 laugh. I'm speaking gibberish. I wish I was plastic like Barbie or Ken, 'cause maybe then I'd have a chance to be pretty again. And waking up at night cloaked in fear seems a whole lot nicer than whatever it is we're doing here. These melodies are killing me, and yet I play them on repeat. And through the noise and the open voids, the girls and boys and mangled toys clap their hands in joy as the executioner lowers his axe as we laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and clap and clap and laugh, laugh and laugh. I'm speaking gibberish. 'Cause I speak gibberish and I can't understand English. Does anybody know what that's like? How do I communicate when no one tries to relate? I guess I'll keep saying that I'm fine. I'm at a loss for words, like a shockwave to my vocal cords. I wanna curl up and hide, so I'll keep playing these 6 strings until they snap and my fingers sting, just to keep myself alive. 'Cause these melodies are killing me, and I play them on repeat. And through the noise and the open voids, the girls and boys and mangled toys clap their hands in joy as the executioner lowers his axe as we laugh and 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 laugh. I'm speaking gibberish. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you all so much for being here today to honor Russell. Thank you for all of your love and support. in the most difficult time. I read online that giving a speech at a memorial service is a final gift to a loved one that passed away. So I will try to get through this to honor Russell and give him this final gift. It's 4 pages. Sorry. To know Russell was a blessing. There was truly no one like him. Even at a very young age, he was special and unique. He gravitated towards music. Whether it was a dance party in the kitchen or a toy guitar, music was always a part of him. At the age of 4, we put him in soccer, which only confirmed he was the artsy kid, not the jock. He just danced in the field to a song only he could hear. He was such a goofball. Always playing around with friends and being the biggest ham ever. He was never a shy kid. Quite the opposite. He did not miss any opportunity to be the center of attention, whether it be in class, church, a family function. A lot of you sent photos of him when he was little, and almost all of them, his arms were raised up, and he was making sure he was noticed. Sorry. As he grew, we knew he wasn't like most kids. He excelled academically, but seemed to have a harder time sitting still and focusing than any other kid at his age. Homeschooling was the best option for him at the time, and when I look back now, I'm so thankful for those years I got to spend so much time with Russ, Cash, and Ivy, and we had the freedom to focus on our family. They may not have had all the math facts memorized, but we went to the beach a lot and field trips and hung out with friends, and I'm so grateful for those extra moments. There are more memories to hold on to. And it was also during that time we noticed Russell's incredible creative writing skills. At such a young age, he was writing novels, poems, screenplays, and songs. He loved to write about kids with superpowers. His first novel was called The Elementals, and it was about kids who had the powers of the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. He would be consumed with his writing. He also loved to write about his destiny and living a life that meant something. I remember the chorus of his first song. It said, "I will climb the 50-foot mountain. I will find my destiny." He was 10 years old, so a 50-foot mountain seemed really huge. Music was a way he was able to express himself clearly. It was his language. He also loved to act and perform. He was in several onstage plays, including Pinocchio, where he played Geppetto, and he had the character down so perfectly, including the Italian accent. And he expressed himself with his style. He loved to have a signature look. Sometimes it was a neckerchief he wore constantly, a sweatband around his head, a leather jacket, and up until he left us, it was all green and black and a fedora. It was so important for him to be unique. He also changed his name a lot. Sometimes it was Rays, Smiles, Orpheus, Unum Solum. As Russ got to be middle school age, his passion for writing really took off. His dream was to be accepted into OSHA in the Creative Writing Conservatory. Completely on his own, he submitted 18 pages of his writing and was completely elated when he was accepted. I was so proud of him, and he was so proud of himself. When he wanted something, he went after it. I remember one time he wrote a movie script, went online and found an email address for Netflix and emailed the script to them. He was certain they would call him any second for a contract. We're still waiting for that call. He was confident and determined, and he knew you had to take risks if you wanted something. Teenage years were tough for Russ. Hormones mixed with COVID, social distancing, led him to a residential school in Utah called Heritage. It was incredibly hard in the beginning. We missed him, and he missed us and home. But there he was really able to thrive. He met so many wonderful friends and coaches that really understood him. Russ poured himself into his music. He was so focused on writing original songs and performing them to anyone who would listen that he didn't focus on other important things like school. One of his teachers said if he would go to school for a bit, then he would take him to open mic night at Velour, a live music gallery, and that was a game changer for Russ. Suddenly he went to school every day and applied himself so he could stand on stage and perform. He loved Velour. and there he met a community of musicians that shared his passion, and it was a safe, kind, uplifting, encouraging place for new musicians. He learned so much at Heritage about coping and regulating his emotions. He went from being one of the hardest kids on campus to taking new kids and families on tours. They use Russell's scores now as an example to all new families because of his amazing growth. A lot of students have said that he was the first one to introduce himself to them and how much that helped them to have an immediate friend. One student wrote at the school's remembrance of him, "You gave me the sense of being completed." He loved making new friends. Our visits were always such a big deal and such a special time. I would try to go out there every few months and have him come home to visit. He was always so eager to show us his new songs, and we had to eat at the same restaurant in Park City every time. Russ loved traditions, and with each visit I saw more growth and progress and a glimpse of the man he would become. March 23rd, he was supposed to have his program completion and move back home. He was so excited and a little nervous. He had so many plans for his future until the flu came and changed everything. I'll never forget that call that he was being admitted to the hospital. I booked a one-way ticket, went straight there. Within the hour, we were in a helicopter on the way to Salt Lake City, and the seriousness of his illness hit me. For 7 weeks, he fought for his life. He defied the odds and lived longer than anyone thought. He was so much of a medical mystery, they asked us if they can study him for research. He had the highest hemolysis number anyone had ever seen, the highest direct bilirubin anyone had ever seen, and he still lived through that. A whole genome sequence test was performed, and they found out that he had a variant of a gene that most likely explained why he got so sick. It explained his autism, his autoimmune disease, and a lot of his challenges. It was a variant of the gene that had never been seen before ever, which means, according to science, Russ was truly special and unique and one of a kind, and that's a fact. Textbooks will change because of Russ now, and they have more knowledge about how to treat people. He has left a legacy. Ultimately, lung disease is what took Russ from us. It was a hard and long 7-week battle. I remember Russ once telling me that his favorite memory of me was one time at church. He was about 10. He got very dysregulated and needed to leave the classroom. I came to get him, and we found a quiet spot in the hall, and I just sat with him. He said he loved that I didn't give advice or try to solve or fix anything. I just sat with him, held his hand, cried with him, and was purely just present. He told me how loved he felt in that moment, and I realized that's exactly what I did for him at the end of his life. I couldn't change anything. I just sat with him, held his hand, cried, sang to him, and loved him, and he knew he wasn't alone. As hard as it was going through that long battle, I'm thankful for the time. I'm thankful I had the opportunity that some parents don't get to say to him everything I wanted to say, that I love him so much and I'm so proud of him. I'm blessed to be his mom. I told him all the things that were special about him, his talent, how he roots for the underdog, how he sees the person sitting by himself and will walk right up and introduce himself, how he cares for the people that are a little different than the rest. God gave me 7 weeks to do nothing but love him. A few days before he passed, we saw a change in Russ, and a meeting was recommended to talk about his decline. Before the meeting, I whispered in Russell's ears, "Are you tired of fighting? It's okay if you want to let go. I will get through this. You can go be with Jesus, Mommy. We'll get through it." And almost immediately, something switched in him, and we noticed he seemed to truly stop fighting. The doctor told us it was time. He said, "We aren't making this decision, Russell is." And it was time to bring family in, and the very next day he died. They said it's very common for someone to let go after a loved one gave them permission, and I think Russ was waiting for me to say he can go. I held him the moment he was born, and I held him the moment he became an angel. He was surrounded by his family, and all of us telling him how much we loved him. And that's what he heard as his spirit left, his family surrounding him and pouring out our love. He was peaceful, and he was ready, And I think of him now, with his guitar in heaven, playing on stage with the angels. He's finally playing for millions, and he's playing for Jesus in the greatest band that ever was. Russell journaled a lot, and I'm reading all his journals. I just want to read a couple things that I found. I'm so sorry, this is long. This is a song he wrote called Monotony. He wrote, "I'm terrified of monotony. I want to live life spontaneously. I'd rather not be a forgotten memory. I want to change the world and leave my legacy. I'm terrified of monotony. Want to live like ground is 1,000 degrees. Can't sit still, I'm restless. Want to be free. And I'm going to hit the ground running by the time I turn 18. I want to live life to the fullest. I want to cross things off my bucket list. I want to learn to take risks. I want to be an adrenaline junkie. I want to trust in the universe. I want to follow where the wind takes me. I want to look last and jump first. ADHD, can't sit still. I want to play guitar with incredible skill. I want to stop a war with just pure will. I want to write songs that mean something to somebody. I want to do it for the music, never for the money. I want to write lyrics that are equally sad and funny. I want to improvise, yet somehow be lucky. Guinness World Records, I want to break a crap ton. Every day, want to learn an instrument before lunch. Want to write 15 songs before my daily run. I don't care if I jump the gun, it's so much fun. I wanted to read this because I thought it was an interesting journal entry because he died on a Sunday. Every Sunday is a day of peace and trust. It is a day to build relationships and trust in the script. It is a day to build control, health, and stability. Spend 1 hour in silence, rest, music, and meditation. Spend time with loved ones and be at peace. He also wrote a lot of lists. I thought this was kind of funny. Plans for after heritage. Number 1, steal Dad's Harley. Number 2, OSHA. Number 3, buy used Harley, and in parentheses, shampoo. That's my mom. Number 4, start gigging as much as possible. Disneyland, beach, impromptu speech club, build credit, save money, rent an apartment. And this is rules for my future household. No potato products in fridge. Must have minimum 1 gallon of ice cream in freezer. You want something, earn it. This is just a quick little thing too, I'm almost done. Because I may be only 17, but God, how time flies. It seemed like only yesterday I got chickenpox for the first time, and I remember my first guitar and learning to ride a bike, because life flies by too quick, so I gotta make 17 stick. In less than a year, my childhood will be gone, at least according to the law. Because I've made a bucket list, I'd like it to be my final wish before I turn 18. Number 1, I want a car and a girlfriend who's not a guitar. I'd promise I'd treat her like a queen. Number 2, I'd like to travel. Where I'd go doesn't matter, I just know there's so much to see. Tomorrow, Rick and I are taking a plane to New York and driving back, and I'm going to leave a guitar pick in every state for Russell. Lastly, this is the last thing. This is a letter he wrote to Ivy, and I wanted to end on a funny note. Dear Ivy, spend time with your grandparents. I know they're old and gross and uncomfortable to be around, but they love us. They are people, not vending machines. Yes, they have money, and yes, they like to buy us stuff, but they won't always be around. They have 30 years max to be with us. Heck, Pappy, Shampoo, Grandma Pearl, they could be gone any day now. They deserve better than buy me this. If you can go 1 whole week without asking Shampoo for anything while she's in town, well, I owe you $10. That's better than I can do. Russ. Thank you guys so much.
This song called My Bipolar Heart, and it goes like this. That's loud. I'm gonna let you, okay. Cause I know I may be scared of everything, but I'll try to commit. These words are hard to speak, but you terrify me every time that you walk by me. I'm on the ground and I'm feeling down and I pass out and I've run out of all the nouns that I can think of that end in ow. Cause you're my worst nightmare and my favorite dream. I always get scared and happy as can be. One sec I wanna cry, the next I'm bouncing off the walls. Sorry to confuse you with my bipolar heart. When I'm near you, my heart goes through fear, anger, frustration, joy, and depression. And I'm not gonna lie, I think about you all the time. Like when I'm sitting in class and given a task and I didn't catch what the teacher asked, and I really gotta think of something fast. Cause you're my worst nightmare and my favorite dream. I always get scared and happy as can be. One sec I wanna cry, the next I'm bouncing off the walls. Sorry to confuse you with my bipolar heart. Imagine that, but they're Jurassic sized. And maybe if you hear this, then you'll understand that I'm terrified of you, but I'm also your biggest fan. Cause you're my worst nightmare and my favorite dream. I always get scared and happy as can be. I nailed it. One sec, I wanna cry, the next I'm bouncing off the walls. Sorry to confuse you with my bipolar. Oh, my bipolar, my worst nightmare and my favorite dream. I always get scared and happy as can be. One sec, I wanna cry, the next I'm bouncing off the walls. Sorry to confuse you with my bipolar heart. Thank you.
I'm Russell's dad. 50% of the inspiration for all the songs about how much parents suck. I feel like, that's a measurement of being a good parent. If your teenager doesn't think you suck, then you're doing something wrong. So I am going to read a poem that my mom found that I think fits really well, and I haven't read it yet because I'm a little intimidated by reading it. I looked at it, and I think it explains things pretty well, though. It's called A Child of Mine. I will lend you for a little time a child of mine, he said, for you to love the while he lives and mourn for when he's dead. It may be 6 or 7 years, or 22 or 3. but will you, till I call him back, take care of him for me? He'll bring his charms to gladden you, and should his stay be brief, you'll have his lovely memories as solace for your grief. I cannot promise he will stay, since all from earth return, but there are lessons taught down there I want this child to learn. I've looked the wide world over and searched for teachers true, and from through the throngs that crowds life's lanes, I have selected you. Now will you give him all your love, nor think the labor vain, nor hate me when I come to take him home again? I fancied that I heard them say, Dear Lord, thy will be done. For all the joys thy child shall bring, the risk of grief will run. We'll shelter him with tenderness, we'll love him while we may, and for the happiness we've known, forever grateful stay. But should the angels call for him much sooner than we've planned, we'll brave the bitter grief that comes and try to understand. I don't have a speech beyond that because I know that would be about all I could get through.
I'm Russell's sister, and yeah, this is my speech. So when I was writing the speech, I was stuck. I was trying to figure out how to explain my feelings. But to be honest, there's no way I can explain my feelings. I lost someone very close to me. Russell was in Utah for maybe 2 years at least, but that just made it 10 times harder because I feel like I didn't get enough time with him. Our relationship was rocky. We would get in fights a lot, but he was still my brother. There's so many things I wish I never said and things I wish I said. When I was younger, I never thought that I would wake up one day with only one brother. But here I am. No one should have to know what it feels like to lose a brother and hold their hand as they go. I don't really know how to explain it because I'm still trying to process it. But all I can really say was it was awful and truly the worst day of my life. The point is, life's short. You never know when it's going to end, and it's going to throw some things at you along the way. But that just means that you have to try harder to keep surviving. So make the most of life. Don't do anything stupid, and hold on to your loved ones because you never know when you're going to have to let go. Thank you.
This next song, first of all, I wanted to say thank you everyone who wore my stickers on stage, because free advertising. I'm kidding. Like, I'm not actually serious. I'm literally kidding. Slightly. My legs are shaking right now. Yeah, this song's about being a teenager and how it sucks. And I kind of didn't even realize what it was about until I finished writing it, so I added lyrics in to fix it. But yeah. Woo-hoo! Fantasizing reality, romanticizing things on TV. Staying up late to keep from getting sick of everything we're dealing with. No way will I forget your arms embrace as I play you to the crowd. Go, no, won't stop me now. No, I won't slow of the day I die. It's coming closer, I can feel time fly. Writer's block is such a prick, maybe because I don't know what to do with it. What this song's about, I don't really know, but I guess I'll just keep writing lyrics as I go. And go, 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 don't stop me now. No, 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 I won't slow down. So keep your hands to yourself, get them off of my guitar, 'cause can you see, she means everything. And I'll keep playing this melody until my teenage years come to an end, 'cause then hopefully I'll feel complete. Well, now you see. Girls that are nice don't come by so easily. And drugs and sex and parties aren't as fun as they seem to be on TV. I got no friends and anxiety walls are closing in on me. Pressure pounding, heartbeat sounding, isolation, motivation. Does she like me? They can't see me hiding. Life is flying closer to dying. It's terrifying. So won't you be my Valentine? Oh, 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 oh. So keep your hands to yourself, get them off of my guitar, 'cause can you see, she means, can't you see, she means everything. And I'll keep playing this melody until my teenage years come to an end, 'cause then hopefully I'll feel complete. Well, now you see. Thank you. You can follow me at Unform, but you can call me Smiles if you want.
Hey everyone, I'm one of the smelly, gross grandparents, and proud of it, I might add. Russ, I mean, he's not a normal kid, and he didn't want to be a normal kid, and he was successful in that. And I think of some words to describe him, and curious really comes to mind. Confident, honest, gifted. I mean, he was 3 years old and he had a toy guitar, and it was just, he wanted to play it so bad, and he wanted to write songs at that age, and he's kind of a Renaissance guy, if you know what that means. Is driven by his art, and that was the most important thing to him. I tried to think about, so many experiences with him, and one that just for some reason pops in my mind and kind of stays with me is last September, I went to Utah to see my son, Adam and Monica, and we went to see Russ and have lunch with him. And he wanted to go to a music store afterward. So we went to the music store, and he said, "Pappy, will you buy me some CDs?" I said, "Yeah, you can get a couple CDs." And he comes back about a half an hour later with 15 CDs at $10 a piece. I said, "Tell you what, Russ, here's $55. Go pick out some CDs that you like and put the rest back." And he was really into 70s and 80s. He was really getting into some older music that inspired him. To me, he's kind of a Dylan-ish type of guy. He's very honest in his music, and he's very honest in his writing. And he wanted to hear some of the stuff that was going on then. So anyway, he comes back 20, 30 minutes later, and he's got 3 or 4 CDs, and he's got a road atlas. And I'm going, Russ, what's that about? And he said, well, I want to start planning some trips. And some of you might have heard last time he was here, or last year when he was here, he decided to hop a train and scare the heck out of everybody in the family. I don't think he was going anywhere far, but he wanted to go, he realized that he could go places, put his hat down, play some music, and make some good money. He did that in front of a Safeway and made like $150. And he thought, you know, I could support myself doing this. So he had the road atlas, and it just kind of freaked me out a little bit because I was nervous. You know, he was coming up to 18. Is he going to get out on the road? And anyway, so he, you know, he didn't get the opportunity, but I just found it interesting that he wanted a road atlas. I don't know why, but it is. Deanna asked me to do this song, which is a song that he liked. It's called Heroes by David Bowie. And I think of heroes, and I think of Russ, and I think of what a hero he was, hanging on there for 7 weeks, hanging on. He had nothing left to hang on with, but he hung on. And another hero that really showed me a lot, my baby girl, Deanna. Sorry. It was amazing to watch her. She didn't want to miss 1 second of being in that hospital with him. And she had to keep Cash and Ivy and Rick and everybody keep those relationships going. But she was just there, just hanging in there with Russ every second. It just blows my mind. So there are a lot of other heroic people in this ordeal that we've all been through and that we're there helping, and Steve and Denny and Adam and Monica and so many, Aaron, of course, and the kids. So anyway, I just want to do this song, Heroes, because that was one of his favorite songs. And I forgot to put the music on, so let's do that again. I wish you could swim. The dolphins could swim. Nothing will keep us together. We can beat them forever and ever. Oh, we can be heroes just for one day. Just for one day, yes, we can be heroes. Just for one day, I can remember standing by the wall and the guards shot above our heads, and we kissed, nothing would fall, and the shame was on the other side. We can beat them forever and ever, and we can be heroes just for one day. just for one day. Help me out on this. We can be heroes. Sing it with me. We can be heroes. Yeah. We can be heroes just for one day. We can be heroes just for one day.
My name is Smiles, Russell Smiley. I am 17. I invited a lot of people today because this is my first time performing original songs for Remembrance. So, yeah. Okay. Is that, sorry, that's kind of crowded. Okay. So this is an original I wrote called Cul-de-sac Nightmares, and it's about how basically American society sucks.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean that I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly cold when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Yeah. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe you think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Well, hold me in your thoughts, take me to your dreams, touch me when I fall into view. When the winter comes, keep the fires lit, and I will be right next to you. Engine drivers headed north up to Pleasant Street. Keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep on turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo.
bye-bye. You gotta wave bye-bye.
Say we gotta go to the store.
Okay.
Say see you later. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording. Bye. Say I love you. Okay, bye.
Hi, I'm Cash, Russell's brother. I didn't really know what to say for a speech, so instead I decided to get my grandpa and my dad and play music, which is what Russell loved best. So, yeah.
Cash wanted to do kind of a little bit of a rocker because Russell loved rock and roll, and so he said, Dad, are you too old to do that? I said, I don't think so, but we'll try. I mean, Grandpa. Well, the judge looked down, gave me 40 days instead of the fine that I could not pay. Said, walk right, son, you'll soon be home. Cross the line, you'll be on your own. 40 days, shotguns and barbed wire fences. 40 nights to sit and listen to that midnight train to Memphis. Well, the whistle blows when the sun comes up. Head to floor, keep your big mouth shut. Eat your breakfast on the ground. Work like hell till the sun come down. 40 days, shotguns and barbed wire fences. 40 nights to sit and listen to that midnight train to Memphis. Well, about 10 for the jury, 10 for the judge. 20 more to forget my grudge. And when I get to 39, that's the longest day in a prisoner's mind. 40 days, shotguns and barbed wire fences. 40 nights to sit and listen to that midnight train to Memphis. To the midnight train to Memphis. To the midnight train to Memphis. Midnight train to Memphis.
We have made it to the point where we have open mic, and I would love to encourage anyone who feels like they have anything to say, whether it's short, long, whatever it is, just follow your heart. And then we're going to start with, Russell had 3 sets of grandparents, and one of his beloved grandpas was Popeye, and he would like to come up and say a few words to start open mic.
I'm one of the other stinky, gross grandparents, but I sometimes sing and do things with a microphone that I'm not going to do because I'm going to bow to the talent that has come before me and Russell. So instead, I've got 3 different segments I'd like to relate, and the first one may not reflect too great on my parenting skills, but I think it shows something about Russell's independence and what I call strong-willed child. I raised a couple daughters that were kind of strong-willed as well, but we were babysitting him, Denny and I, back when he was maybe about 6 years old, and he was supposed to take a shower at night. So I ran the shower, and I was in there with him, and I said, please, get undressed and get in the shower. You're supposed to take a shower. And he said, no. So I said, well, you really don't want me to have to call up your mom and dad and, tell them you're not obeying your grandfather, do you? I don't care. So I decided the tactic to take might be to offer him something as a reward. The next logical steps is I offered him, ice cream or watching a movie or something if he got in and took the shower. So the water's running, and of course that didn't work. So, no. Says, okay, and he's standing there with his arms crossed in his defiance, and I picked him up, and I took him and put him in the shower in his clothes. And he was mad as a wet hen because he was kind of a wet hen at that time. So I said, when you're done, take your clothes off, get in your pajamas, and I'll be downstairs. So after, he screamed a little bit, and then the shower went off, and he got in his pajamas, and he came down the stairs like nothing had happened and said, I want my ice cream now, or whatever I had promised him. So I gave it to him, of course. Later in life, before he went to Heritage, he had some difficulties in school, and we didn't know he was autistic, and at the time that I put him in the shower, but he was experiencing the difficulties of that issue in school, and he came to stay with Denny and I for a week, and he was getting counseling at the time, so he also had to agree to call his counselor once a day. He had to agree that he would clean up over himself and all of that stuff. So he did very well, but I found out one thing about him. At that point in time of his life, he could really eat. Every day he had a favorite pizza, and he couldn't have cheese on it. So I'd go down to my local sports pizza bar and get him a pizza, and he had 5 ingredients each of the days, and he wouldn't settle for an individual pizza. He had to have the next size up, like a 14-inch pizza, and he would devour that whole thing and want more, like sushi. And he loved sushi. So he would go down to the sushi place and, Popeye, can I get, the 20-piece platter? And I said, why don't we start with 8 and see how you do? And then, of course, he would have another 8, and then he'd be happy. But he could eat sushi, too, and he loved sushi, as did the other grandchildren. So he stayed with us. He was playing his guitar, and I have a piano, and he played the piano and was doing some compositions. I had a friend that built 3 guitars, and I had him in the house hanging on the wall, and I don't play guitar. But what impressed me about him at that age, he took the 3 out and started playing one, and he said, well, this one isn't too good. The riff is not in the right place, or it just doesn't sound right. And he had criticism on the others, but the one sounded pretty good to him. So he would start playing that, but I didn't know he had the technical capabilities, too, to recognize how an instrument like that guitar was built and what was wrong with it. And at an early age, fairly early age, teenage age, he did. So that was great. He also was in a group that was composing or writing a story. And they'd get on Facebook and talk about the next chapter and what the plot would be and so forth. So I said, well, can I read it? And I was surprised. The plot was pretty good. At that time, he wanted to be emancipated. And so it was about a boy that was emancipated that came to town and met some friends that they took into a forest that was like haunted. And they met different people in there, and goofy things happened to them, and it wasn't finished yet. But I was amazed at the grammar was very good. I couldn't find any kind of flaws. The sentences were well written and seemingly pretty advanced for his age and the age of the friends that were helping him. So he was very into writing as well as guitars and music. The other thing that happened is we were out in a spa one night, and he was talking about his, his counseling and some of the troubles he was having at the school at the time. And he disclosed to me that he sometimes felt he had to be alone and away from his classmates, and he would go have lunch alone, during the lunchtime. And I said, Russell, I said, that's not necessarily bad. I said, when I first moved to Phoenix, I was a teenager, and I didn't have friends. And so when I first started going to high school, I too would go to the library until I met some people. And I didn't realize that made an impact until he was in Heritage, and I came to visit, and he disclosed to me that that was something that was meaningful to him because he felt we bonded. We had something in common that had happened at the age when he was. And he hadn't known that about me. So that was pretty nice. At Heritage, Denny and I went to visit him about a year ago. It was around his birthday time. And he was ready to get the performance that you've been hearing, ready to make that performance and take that trip. But he needed some supplies from Guitar Center. So I said, for your birthday, we'll go down and get you some supplies. And of course, like Bob, instead of just the couple $100 that I was going to give him to get supplies, it grew to about $500 worth of supplies. But I paid it, and he had what he needed, and he was delighted. That evening, after spending the day with him, we went out with, I think, Adam and Monica to a restaurant, and it was a pretty early dinner because we had to get him down to Provo. And as we sat there and ordered from the server, a couple of the adults started talking about, the server, is it a waiter or a waitress? And when the server came back, Russell said, "By what pronoun do you want to go by?" Now, I'm a grandfather, I never heard such a thing, and I'm going, what do you mean by, what does that mean? What pronoun? And it was the first time I came to understand what that was about. And Russell was progressive that way, and he always, rooted for the kind of the less fortunate or the unusual people that weren't maybe in society's norm. So he was very good that way. So he was strong-willed. He had a great heart for other people, extremely talented in his own right, and very bright. We're all going to miss him. And what we're going to maybe miss more, along with those that never got to know him, is what could have been. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is River. This is my friend Hollister, and that's Kale. We were all friends of Russell. As you see, we're all gathered here today for an amazing person, a person who is a genius in what he does and what he loves. And the day I met Russell, this gentle and loving and caring soul, I was in middle school. And I sat down for lunch. I was new to the area at the time, and I didn't have much friends. And I sat down, and this kid was just jamming to the most awesome music like ever. I was like, what? And my first thought was, this kid has great style. I sat down, have my lunch, and as I'm admiring this awesome-looking kid, he looks over at me and sits next to me. And the first words that come out of this kid's mouth was, "You like punk rock?" And I was like, yeah. He goes, "What about Chemical Romance and all that?" I was like, oh yeah. And that's where it all began. Him and I bonded through music, anything. We played guitar together. We joined band. I obviously was more of the jazzy type of guy, and I kind of went to jazz band, as he was more of the soft orchestra type of guy. So in middle school, it was pretty fun. But ultimately, we all started a band with these fine gentlemen. A lot of name changing, though, if we can all agree. But all in all, he was a musical genius. He wrote songs that were so poetic and very, very intricate into his own life, and I looked up to that greatly. He played at least, he told me, 13 instruments, including the banjo, guitar, cello, and many more. One day, it was kind of funny, we were in a jam session together, and I was just off-tempo, just so off-tempo, and he just turned around, stopped the music, and goes, "Temple Man strikes again," and we all laughed about it. And then we helped each other get back into tempo, and he helped teach me a lot of good things about myself and my music. One day, we promised each other, if one of us can't go on, and one of us can't succeed, we promised each other to continue our legacy. And Russell, I will make that promise, and I will fulfill it for both of us, for all of us. And I say to myself and to others in this room, I'll see you one day, my friend, and we will all see you one day, and we'll all be jamming with our guitars in the stars. Could I get a rock on for Russell? Now today I wanted to bring a special thing for all y'all. We used to be in a band, like we said, and we come together and we all made an agreement that we want to bring this song to you that Russell and all of us wrote. At the time, we were all ladies' men, you know what I mean? So please join us in this song called My Girl.
Can I have a couple of words for a minute?
Yeah.
So, hi, I'm Hollister. I first met Russell when I was in 7th grade. It was May of 2020, and I had met River earlier in the week. I had come across him while we were all riding our bikes around. And River called me on Friday. He said, hey, I got this really cool guy I met at school I want you to meet. His name's Russell. He plays bass. I said, that sounds like a cool idea, because he'd come over to my house and we'd been jamming in my garage the week before. So I meet Russell, and it's like an immediate sense of like he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants to do. He wants to write music, and that's what he wants to be known for. Then we called Kale to come over. He started singing for us. We started writing songs. We were sharing our ideas. We said, we like this kind of music, and we were bonding. It was amazing. And I remember when River had to go home, it was about 8 o'clock, and immediately we all started a group chat, and within minutes, Russell was sending us lyrics and his ideas and photos, and it was just so amazing to see how talented he was and what he wanted to do. We wrote many songs together. We practiced every Wednesday and Friday, and we had the garage door open, and Russell would always just come by, and we would have so much fun jamming in my garage and playing and sharing the passion that we had for music. It was so special. It was so fulfilling, and I look back on it now wishing that it could have never stopped and that it could have gone on for as long as it could have. It was so special. It was just a passion that we all shared with each other, and it was something that I never, ever want to ever give up in my life.
That we could be together, we could stay through any weather. I wish that we could be, because that's pretty neat. You seem really fun, and I love you a ton. I think you're pretty fine. I wanna be with you all the time. You could be my girl, you could rock my world. Will you be my life? Will you be mine? On the day we met, it was just the sunset. My life was so blue until I met you. When I look in your eyes, they look beautiful tonight. I just the thought of us, holding each other we could trust. Won't you be my girl? Will you rock my world? Will you be my life? Will you be mine? Will you be my girl? Will you rock my world? Will you be my life? Oh, won't you be mine? you be mine? Be my world. Will you rock my world? Won't you be my girl? Will you be mine?
That was for you, Russell. We love you, my man. And for all of us, we say, we hope you rock on for Russell too. Rock on for Russell.
Hello, my name's James. Only a select few of you know me, but for the time I knew Russell, he made a very big impact on me. For those of you who do not know, in Latin, unum solum means together forever. And this is my connection to him. I knew Russell for just under a year. I saw him rise and fall. When I first met him, I knew something he did would have impacted me. Me and him shared the same music tastes from Joan Jett to Bob Seger, and he made it an effort to practice songs that I enjoyed. Me and him shared a dorm with my best friend Nate for 6 months, and I saw him change in a huge way. After a visit, he came to me and said, "I found the motivation to do well because I love my family and I want to make them proud." My most fond memory of him was when he moved to Spark Life. That day we went to the skate park and skated together. I fell, of course. I never knew how to skateboard, but it was still a very memorable time. At my last few months at Heritage, when I heard him pass, I cried, not for me, but solely for his mother, father, and their kids. Once he told me he was going to hell, and I said, as long as you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you will see heaven one day, and I will see you there, brother. Unum Solum.
Hi, I am Grant, and I was Russell's roommate for 6 months at Heritage. We have been through a lot together. When I first got to Heritage, he was one of the first people I met. When it was my first visit, because we have visits every 3 months, my mom came up, and she was on the home with me. We were packing my stuff. Russell came up to my mom, and he said, "Your son is the smartest kid on the home." And I was like, "What?" There was this time, we'd always try and watch movies, or we had similar tastes in movies. So he liked The Greatest Showman. I've heard he watched it 5 times on the home, and it makes sense because it's a musical and music instruments relate. There's this program at Heritage called Super Saturday, and every Saturday, if you do good, you get to go out to a place. There was one Super Saturday, or not one Super Saturday, pretty much every Super Saturday we have a meeting and we all suggest places to go. Every meeting he would suggest Guitar Center. No one voted for it except him. He was really devoted he was really devoted to get it picked, and I admire him for that. There was this, one of the Super Saturdays, we saw the Doctor Strange movie, and we both liked it, and from that point on, we would always watch and stay up to date with the Marvel shows and movies. So on the home a few times, or after that, on the home, every time a new Marvel movie or show came out, we would always watch it together. I remember he missed the last episode of WandaVision, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta watch it." So we watched it. We watched all the other shows. One of the things that stood out to me was we watched all the episodes of She-Hulk, and we both liked it until the very last episode, and we agreed that it was trash on the last episode. On Spark Life, like James was mentioning, that's an extension in the Heritage program. That's where we were roommates. I'm into rollerblading. One of the staff, I know who you are, you know who you are, have really inspired me to rollerblade. And I really wanted to practice. And Smiley, or I call him Smiley, that's what I've called him because, like everyone said, he's had a bunch of names that he liked to go by. Smiley liked to play guitar on campus and show it off to everyone. So we would always go to campus on our free time because Spark Life is off campus. And I'd do my rollerblading and he'd play guitar at the field with like other people. And it's a win-win because you needed at least 2 people to go to campus on Spark Life. I remember this time where so Smiley hates mayonnaise. I think y'all know that. If you don't know that, now you do. There was this one time when we had mayonnaise in the home for dinner. Smiley couldn't stand it. He couldn't finish eating until the mayonnaise were gone. And so he finished eating once they were gone. There was, sorry, hold on. I remember at the memorial, or not the memorial, one of the staff, I asked for the graduation, like they were talking about in March graduation, or any of the graduations, you get to pick a staff, your favorite staff, on who you want, they get to make a remark about you. And so I remember asking him like frequently, who do you want to speak for you? And he would always say the same person. And he was really excited for that person to speak for him. And yeah, he did for his graduation. He had a separate graduation. I went to Hawaii in February, and it was a week like a little after he got sick. And he was laying in bed, and it was the night before I left. And he was laying in bed, really tired. He was starting to get sick then. And I told him, hey, I know we don't always see eye to eye, but I truly hope you do get better, because like roommates, if you're a roommate with someone, you're not gonna 100% get along with them. So his response was, After that, I got back, and I was saddened to hear he was in the hospital. And I prayed for him and hoped he would get better, because I really enjoyed having him as a roommate. He always gave me the best advice about stuff. Day one, he gave me advice about a kid that sometimes causes problems, and without that advice, I probably wouldn't have been in the relationship I was with that kid today. And because his advice helped me like build a friendship with that kid, because he targets like someone's weaknesses and takes advantage of that. But he told me if you ignore that, you could be friends with him. And it was really helpful. And his advice too is also like helped me throughout the program at Heritage. Like he would give really thorough answers on like specific things, and all of it was really useful information, which helped me where I am today on the Spark program. He performed he performed in the Heritage play. He played bass in the orchestra pit, and his like knowledge and passion for music and sound. I ran the soundboard there, and when I had a problem, because I was still new to it, but I really enjoy like sound stuff, he came up and he was able to figure out the issue right away, and that really helped me. And I know like with that knowledge, it was very useful, and really showed me that he cares about you, me, and everyone. Like he had an open heart. With my last interaction with Russell about when I was about to go to Hawaii, I never saw him after that. And I thought to myself that I was glad I left off on a good note, because you just never know when the last time you might see someone will be. And that was the last time, and I'm really glad that we left off on a good note. I will miss him, and I know you will all too. He was a great kid, smart, lots of instruments, lots of girls too, at Heritage. Yeah, I will miss you so much, Smiley. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Colton. I work at Spark Academy. I just wanted to read the graduation speech that I wrote for Russell that I gave originally when he was in the hospital. I'm a big softie, so forgive me if I cry all the way through this. Hello there. And I'm so sorry that you have to listen to me publicly speak. I promised Russell I would make lots of pop-punk references. I can't think of a single person in the Spark program that doesn't know Russell, or at very least recognize the fedora-wearing, guitar-toting, green and black-clad youth. Russell makes it a point to approach you and get to know you, and talk to you every time he sees you. When Russell first got to the Timpanogos home, he was pretty worse for wear. One of the unfortunate downsides to being a part of a care team like Spark is we often meet these teens at their lowest, and Russell, he seemed to be at an all-time low. In the same breath, one of the greatest things about being a part of Spark is through hard work, determination, and the support of parents, peers, clinicians, and coaches, and the right motivation, we get to see these young people grow into the best versions of themselves. Being a coach, we all watch these kids work on themselves every day, but something that you find is that it pushes you to work on yourself too. We teach them, and in turn they teach us. And Russell, he was a very stubborn kid. And Russell worked his butt off. As the band Fall Out Boy would say, we're going down and we're looking around, but sugar, we're going down swinging. As I started to get to know Russell in those days, he called himself Rays. He made sure you did too. I made it a point to work with him often. I guess I saw some of my younger self in him, a punk, a rebel, and a true appreciator of music. To quote another song that reminds me of Russell, I'll never fall in line and become another victim of your conformity. And Russell is always unapologetically himself, and Russell has taught me how to be my authentic self. I remember us spending so much time outside. We'd talk for hours about his family, his friends from back home, coffee, and most of all, music. He would play his guitar, and we would talk about bands like Modern Baseball, Weezer, My Chemical Romance, Blink-182, and Good Charlotte. Back then, Russell sustained himself off of lots of sunshine and walks. And Russell taught me to appreciate the sunshine more. I remember spending so much time at home, at the home with Russell when he didn't go to school. I remember how much of a hurdle it was for Russell to overcome in his treatment. I would have these long coaching talks with Russell, the importance of school, how it would help him to achieve his goals, how it would help him get to a better place mentally, and how he'd become the god of rock and roll. I would bug him every 10 minutes to tell him what time it was and ask him if he was going to school. Most of the time he would get annoyed and tell me to leave him alone, and in true teenager style, roll over and go back to bed. But I kept trying, all of us kept trying, and he kept trying most of all. Breakthroughs here and there. I think it was around the time that Russell knew he could start playing local shows that he really dug in and started doing what he didn't want to do so he could do what he wanted to do. Sorry, I've lost my place. That kid wanted to play, and by God, that kid was a performer. If it was an audience for one open mic night at the Velour, or for a chaplain in the worship center, Russell would play for anyone, anywhere, and anytime. Even if it was time for bed. It was always so cool when Russell would come to you excited to show you a new song he had wrote, or a cover he was able to nail down. Music and the chance to share it with others seemed to be a big push for Russell to work his program with a burning passion. You could always, you could see Russell start to grow, making more friends, pushing through hard things in therapy, and becoming a leader on the home. Russell always welcomes new students with open arms, and whether you like it or not, he's going to show you the ropes. I don't think a lot of people realize it, but Russell cares so much about his relationship with his peers. He also cares very much about his relationships with the people that worked with him. Russell always makes it a point to ask about my brother and about my wife when I see him. Russell loves his family, his mom, his dad, his siblings, his therapist, Elena. Russell loved his teachers, the cafe workers, our home managers, the nurses, and DeLacy, our chaplain. I remember the last time I talked to Russell before he got sick, I was having a really hard day. He was sitting by the door in the lunchroom playing Johnny Be Good. He was saying something like, look, I can play it, Johnny Be Good. He then asked me, like he had asked me every time we had talked for the last 3 months, you're still speaking at my graduation, right? And I answered him like it had every time. I had talked to him for the last 3 months, of course, I wouldn't miss it. As he was showing me a new riff he wrote that I decided sounded like an Elliott Smith song, I took a moment to appreciate how much Russell had grown as a person. How hard he had worked to get through the spark phases, how hard he had worked to get to spark life. It's those little moments like that where you see the small changes every day. And while sometimes we feel like we are working harder than the student or we are stuck in the box with them, the bounce back from a rough couple weeks, the big moments, we realize how far the kids have come, that we know we are residential coaches. We get addicted to helping. Whether it's the first successful coaching moment or 100th, all we need to do is take a breath, a beat, and remember we are in the business of helping others change their lives for the better. Russell has made me realize how important it is to appreciate the growth in others. In closing, I would like to say that there is a light inside of all of us that never goes out. Russell has reminded me to keep on loving, keep on fighting, and improve every day, and hold on for dear life when things look their bleakest. Congratulations, Russell. Never give up on your dreams. And the last pop punk reference I'll give you is this. Look to the past and remember and smile. Maybe tonight it can bring for a while. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Michelle. My daughter Jessica can be here. She's in New York right now with Tribeca Hills High School Choir. My other daughter, Victoria, is at work, but they both want me to tell you a little something, Deanna. The three of us will never forget the times that you opened your house to us. For movie nights, for game nights, for all the activities that our kids did back at Del Lago days. The days will always be cherished, spent with you guys and with Russ, that we will never forget. Jessica texted me from New York this morning, and she wanted me to tell you, one, to give Mom a big hug, and if you see her, tell her that I wish I could be there, and that I'm so sorry for you and your family for the loss of Russell. She also went on and told me to tell you that the memories that the three of us have spent with Russ and with all of you will always be cherished from the bottom of our hearts. She wanted me also tell you that she cannot imagine what you guys are going through. And she just gives us your deepest condolences, as do I and Victoria. We will always love Russ. We will always cherish him. We'll always remember his memories and you opening up our house to all of us. We love you.
Hi, I'm Cassie. I'm a cousin. Is it okay if I use the amp? Yeah. Might be loud, guys. Russ and I had a lot in common. We both really love music. We think alike, kind of. I don't know. But, and we both have like mental stuff, I guess. But the main thing is we both love music and writing songs. So I kind of wrote a song. So that's what I'm gonna do. Sorry about anything that doesn't sound great. This is also my first time performing, so yeah. So this song's about like the teenage mind, I guess. And I know there's a song about that by Tate McRae. You should go listen to that if you're a teenager. But I kind of wrote my own version to a different melody, I guess. So yeah. Come home, say it's gonna be okay. Next thing you know, it's a brand new day. Parents ask, what did you do? And for some reason, you don't have a clue. 'Cause it's like, eat, sleep, repeat again. Cry every night until you get in bed. Just the life of being 13. All you wanna do is scream in the head of a teenager. Happiness and anger, sad and silly sometimes. Parents are brutal, don't know what to do with them. Just kinda need to get a life. School is bad, but you say it's fine. In reality, it's all the time. Parents say, get your grades up, and all you can say is, they suck. 'Cause it's like try, and try again. Fail till you never reach the end. Just the life of being 13. All you wanna do is scream in the head of a teenager. Happiness and anger, sad and silly sometimes. Parents are brutal, don't know what to do with them. Just kinda need to get a life. That's all I have so far, but yeah. And to close off, I just wanted to relate that to one of Russell's songs. I was on video. It said happy and then jumping off the walls. I just thought that was relatable. So yeah, that's it.
Hello, my name is Steve, and I had a speech written out, but I threw it away because I don't think Russ would want me to script anything. We did not live close, but I was there every day of his life. And I got to be honest, he was a handful. He literally, sometimes I would want to squeeze him to death when I saw him, and sometimes I would want to squeeze him to death. But everything that boy did, he was a pure genius. And he showed me things that I didn't even know were possible in life. He opened up my mind to just possibilities are there for everybody. And his mother and his father, I saw just the magic in their eyes when he was born. And I was so happy for both of them. And I just can't believe we're all here today. I've shared many great times with Russ. I remember we went on a road trip once, and we got stuck in this hotel room together, and Russell told his dad, if I get stuck one more night with Uncle Steve in that room snoring, I'm going to kill myself. And he meant it, too. He was adamant. He definitely did not want any part of him, so I had to get my own room for the next night. But, you know, and just like what Popeye said, I've never seen a boy eat more of a disgusting-looking pizza in my life, but he loved it. I mean, and that was just what part of Russell was. He was just, he was fearless, and he truly is my hero. And I just, for his parents, I love you both. And I know if he was here today, him and God would tell you guys it's going to be okay, because there's a long road ahead of, you know, all of us, and he knows he's right here alongside both of you guys. So I love you both, and I know that's all I got for now.
Hi guys, my name's Skylar, and my dad is actually dating Deanna, and a little over 2 years ago, he came to me and was like, hey, I want you to meet my new girlfriend. And, you know, as a 17, almost 18-year-old, you're like, okay. You don't think too much about it. And then a couple weeks later, I met Cash and Ivy, and I loved them from the moment I had met them. Russell, I think it took a couple times of all of us hanging out for me to meet him. just because I don't think he was quite ready for it, which I totally understand. And the first time I had hung out with him, we had gone down to the beach. We had walked down from a neighborhood that me and my dad have lived in for almost 15 years, and walked down to the San Clemente Pier. Russ went one way and we went another. He was gonna go do his thing. He had his guitar and his little hat and was gonna go sing some songs, and then we were gonna meet up for dinner at Sonny's. I was super, super nervous. I was nervous to meet Cash and Ivy, but even more nervous to meet their older brother, because that's intimidating. But I didn't really kind of know what to say to him, just because I was so nervous. And I know, like, one point at dinner, I looked at my dad and I was like, "Dad, My Chemical Romance is going back on tour. I really want to go." Russell's face kind of lit up, and we talked about pop punk for the next 45 minutes. I didn't get to spend too much more time with Russ because shortly after he did go off to Heritage. And then the times he would come back, I was in college. After that, I was working a full-time job like an adult. And then things got turned to the worse, but I just kind of wanted to get up here and say to the both of you guys, thank you guys for letting me become another big sibling to you. I know I can't take Russ's place, but I will sure love you guys like he did. I love you guys.
Hi there. My name's Elliot. I was an old childhood friend of Russell, and I just wanted to come up here and play a song for him. The autumn leaves drift by the window. It's autumn leaves of red and gold. I see your lips, summer kisses. Sunburned hands I used to hold, and since you went away, the day's been long since you, and soon I'll hear the winter song, and I miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves start to fall.
Hello, I'm Dylan LaChica, and this is my friend Josh. We were both really close friends with Russell, and it was interesting because I was looking at Josh and I said, "Hey, I feel like we need to say something." And he looked at me. He was like, "Do you want to say something?" I said, "I'm a little bit nervous too, but I feel like I owe it to Russ to say something, because I know that's what he would have wanted. And so don't have a speech prepared, but this is just coming from my heart and everything that I would want him to know and his family. Russell was an amazing person, especially to me. I realized this actually today. He was the one that taught me how to play guitar, and he taught me how to do bar chords. I remember I have a lot of memories just going over to the house, and he would correct my technique and say, okay, you're doing this wrong. This is why it doesn't feel comfortable. And he was just a very good friend. He, whoever it was, he was always showing compassion to every single person he encountered. He was not biased or picking favorites. He just wanted everyone to feel loved. And that's something that will never die, that will always live on to me personally. And I remember the last conversation I had with him on text, and I wanted to share this. He said to me, he started talking to me about you, Cash, and he just said, make sure he's okay, and just look out for him because I know I'm not there. But just make sure he's okay, make sure he's doing good. And I just want to say to the whole family, I will carry on that promise because it's what Russ would have wanted. And when I walked in here, I could just feel such love that Russell was deeply and truly loved by every single one of you here, no matter how short of a time you knew him, no matter how long. There's just a love that I feel. And I believe that is God's love that is present in every single one of us. And I was really debating whether or not to do this. This is really out of my comfort zone. But besides music, Russell also inspired me to write. And there's this song that was written when I was going through a very tough time. And I really feel like it would encourage anyone just dealing with loss that, even despite all of the pain, God will get you through it. And no matter what circumstance it may be, there is always peace in a storm. And so at this time, it's okay if I use that.
I'm going to let him do his thing before I say anything.
He's for moral support.
So deep, I will look to your face. Whence cometh my help, even in the midst of these waves? I know I am not alone, and so I will praise. Even in the storm, in your presence I will stay. And no matter what the cost, and even in the pain, you are worthy of it all, and that will never change. No matter the pain, you are worthy. No matter what I face, Lord, you are worthy. No guilt and no shame, Lord, you are worthy. You never stop being worthy. You never stop being worthy. And no matter the pain, Lord, you are worthy. And no matter what I face, and Lord, you are worthy. No guilt and no shame, You are worthy. You never stop being worthy. You never stop being worthy. And when the pain just seems so deep, I will look to your face. And even the things I feel I can't explain, I know I am not alone. And so I'll praise you anyways. In the storm I will call on your name. Whence cometh my help even in the midst of these waves? I know I am not alone. So I'll praise.
I'm Josh. I was a very old friend of Russell's. I can't remember exactly. It was either 5th or 6th grade that we met. And I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, that kid's something else. And through the years knowing him, just especially after we stopped going to school together, we started to hang out more. And in the past like 2-ish years, I met a few friends because of him who I'm very close to now. And we had a lot of good experiences. We'd go to the Spectrum a lot when he came down to visit from, I think it was Heritage. We'd go to the Spectrum. There was a lot of times we did a band. Didn't work out very well. We did like 3 throughout the entire friendship. But there was one, and we'd have practices anytime we could, especially when he came back to visit. And he tried so hard to teach me how to play the bass. And he got really frustrated because I could not do it at all. He would get so mad. And he tried. He had patience, but he eventually got fed up with it. So switched me over to, I think, it wasn't the drums. I think it was just at that point he said, all right, you know what? We're gonna let you off a little bit. But so knowing him, seeing him grow too as a musician was great because I saw him change a lot since when I met him. He's a little less what he was. He wasn't very dark. He didn't do a lot of the dark stuff, like the clothing-wise and personality, but I don't know what I'm saying anymore. There was a dream that he would always tell me about when we both turned 18, to just get a camper van and just travel across the country, and just like play gigs and meet people. And looking back on the text when I found out that he passed and thinking about all the things that he told me he wanted to do, it made me think like, man, we don't got a lot of time here. We don't know when we might end up going, so we got to make the best of it. And he always made the best of his scenario anytime he could. I remember last time he came here and he ended up running away, scared the hell out of all of us. I was concerned as well, and I couldn't imagine how that must have been for the family too. I remember Cash texting or calling me, and I was kind of like, really, man? Really? Now? You're not too far away. I was a little disappointed in him, but just last time I saw him, it was really great, and getting to reminisce about that, because I don't think I could have told him how I felt about him back then as well. I just don't think I appreciated him enough, and I regret that. But I just want you to know that you're my brother, man, and I'm going to miss you. Before I start crying, I'm going to leave.
Hi, I'm Dawson. I don't think I know many of you. I knew Russell back when he went by Jonah. We were friends since like preschool, I think. I don't even know. I don't remember when we first met. I don't know. We were really good friends for a really good amount of time. From kindergarten and first grade, and we became a trio, added another kid to our friend group. We did everything together. And when we all got in a fight over ham sandwiches, my dad sent the three of us to the principal's office together. We got really close, I think about third grade. I got homeschooled for a year to try it out, and I don't remember if one of us discovered Percy Jackson first, or if one of us we both discovered it at the same time and then kind of intermingled. But I remember being really jealous that he had a Camp Half-Blood t-shirt and I didn't. And he wore that every time that I saw him. I don't even know. I never knew him past middle school. But one of the memories that I do have was we used to write a lot of books together. We had Google Docs was something we discovered, and at first it was a chat thing because you could use it as a chat, and then it was like, no, we're gonna start writing books. And none of us had phones at the time, so we started using Google Hangouts to bypass that. And I'm hearing names and putting faces today to people that I've seen in group chats who I think I've written on the same documents as, who I never saw before, but we were all brought together because of Russell. We started a lot of books together. Throw together a plot, somebody has an idea, and you start writing, and you don't really think about it. And I have documents and documents on my Google Drive saved of books half written, unfinished, just because we moved on to a new idea. And I think for me and many of you, Russ remains a book half finished. He was a smart kid for as long as I knew him, and a great friend and a great person, and I'll never forget him for as long as I live.
Hi. I used to know Russell when I was in church. Gosh, I'm heading through a huge wave of nostalgia. Jeez. I think I was like 6. He was like 14 or something. I don't know. I remember a very good memory of me and him used to worship out in church, and we used to dance through the waves on music, and I had a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. It was fun celebrating Jesus and celebrating when he died on the cross and he got off the cross, so forth. I think now music reminds me of him. I'm just realizing this, and to be honest, I think if Russell was here, I think he would want us to keep listening to music and remind him of him. And yeah, that's it.
Hello, everyone. With like bright lights. I'm Denny. I'm Deanna's mom, and I'm Russell's grandma, of course. He didn't call me grandma. I'm Shampoo. That's what our 10 grandchildren call us, and somebody had already said that, and people have said a lot of things that I was going to say, so I won't repeat, but I will agree that he was as wonderful as everybody says he was. Anyway, I was going to point out too, and somebody did that he was the first of our 3 grandsons. So he did get a lot of love and a lot of attention right from the start. You never lacked any of that. And an important thing I want to say about today is that the goal was to honor Russell. That is why we're here. And what Deanna, and I'm sure Aaron, was all about is showing you who Russell was for the people that did not know him as well as others, what he was all about. And I'm grateful, so grateful that so many people showed up today to honor him. And I think your wishes were carried out, and we did a good job. You had a lot of people working together to make this happen for Deanna and Aaron. And I think it's been achieved, and there's more to come, but it was well done today. I want to thank everybody who participated. Angela, of course, I don't want to start naming names because I'm sure I'll forget somebody important. I was going to write a speech or a eulogy for him, and a few weeks ago, and I started to write. I was thinking, okay, let me think, and I wrote down one word, and that word was determined, and that definitely was him. And I started with that, and then I couldn't write anything else. I couldn't form a sentence. I could have, but I just didn't do anything after that. So I decided to approach this with a different angle than telling stories. I don't have any stories. I do, but I'm not going to tell them. But I want to say quick, and I know it's getting late, and we all have to get to the reception pretty soon, but the outpouring of love and support to Deanna, I'm sure to Aaron, and even me, I mean, cards, flowers, meals, gifts. It was just incredible how many people stood up and gave, and the GoFundMe, and I don't even know who all the people are that donated, but there was a lot. And it was an unbelievable showing of, and that's too, to honor Russ. And, Heritage and all that they did, and Deanna's employers, Emerald Labs, have been very awesome to her. They've allowed her to take all the time off of work she needs. She's got her job. She can go back to work when she's ready. And her boss, Melody, has did a lot to make this day happen in many ways. I thank you, Melody, and thank you, everybody, but I see her standing over there, so I just want to let her know that I appreciate you and your office and your staff for being so good to Deanna. The one thing I think, I don't know if I have to get this out right, but all the wonderful gifts and cards and thoughtfulness that people have for people like us or people that are hurting, it's wonderful and generous and kind and good, but you don't want to really be the one receiving, because that means you're the one hurting. You're the one that people are hurting enough that people go out and pick out a card, sign it, mail it to you, order flowers and have them delivered. That's a big thing. And when your house gets filled with flowers and you've got all these cards, they're well appreciated and very nice. But it's just hard to be that person that has to receive the wonderful things that people are want to give. And I know every family has people that pass away, and everybody grieves for certain ways in their own ways, but this particular case was extremely traumatic and extremely horrendous. And I want to say right now to Cash and Ivy, both of you, that you are the strongest, bravest kids that I know. Those 2 kids didn't have to be in that room when Russell left us. They had a choice, and they chose to be in the room. And I thought that was pretty amazing of them. and they're 11 and 14. I mean, those are young kids to be going through such a traumatic thing, I think. And I'm very proud of you both for how, and I know you know this, but your mom really gonna need you and does need you as much as you need her, if not more. And I know you're the kind of kids that'll be there for your mom. And I also want to thank Rick. You have a lot you're gonna have a lot on your shoulders, a lot of pressure, and I'm so thankful that you're understanding. It's a lot to deal with, and Aaron, I know on your side of the family too, it's the same. There's a lot. It's a process we're all going to have to go through, and we're in it. We're in it, and we're really trying. And I know I'm forgetting some of the things I probably wanted to say because I know I'm trying to hurry, but you know, I just want to say this. I know that people have various different faiths and belief systems, and our family, the majority of them, I believe, are Christians. I'm not going to preach by any means, but I just want to say how important it is for times like this to have faith. And I don't know how I don't know how anybody would really get through the kind of hurt and pain and sorrow that this brings without believing or feeling in your heart that you're going to see him again and you'll be reunited. And I believe that. And I don't know how I could have, I mean, that's what holds me together is my faith. And I really do, I think I'll see him again. So anyway, once again, thank you all. And I don't know if, I guess more people are speaking. Anyway, I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone, I'm Brett. I'm actually Russell's uncle. And I will miss him. I do actually remember the day he was born. And I sat in that waiting room for hours and hours. I didn't even care how long I had to wait. I was just excited knowing that I was going to end up meeting my nephew. And the time came, he was born. I was able to hold him in my arms and just look at him. And it was one of the favorite moments of my life, and I will always remember it. And I know him and I, we didn't talk much, but when we had our moments, when it was just him and I, it felt like the whole world just stopped, and it was just him and I. And he would tell me all of his ideas and his plans. And whatever he was doing, writing music, whatever the situation was, he would let me know all the ideas that he had. And I loved listening to it. And that's the one thing I'm going to miss. Knowing we won't have our moments, but when the time does come, I know he'll be up there waiting for me. And he's going to tell me all of his wonderful ideas that he's going to have. And I'll be ready right there to be able to listen to him. Sorry, it's a lot tougher than I thought it would be. But I will miss him, and I love always listening to him play and writing all the different music that he wrote, and I'm going to miss it. And I'm going to just miss him overall. So, thank you, thank you.
My name's Charisse, and I'm one of the coaches at Heritage, and I got to meet Russell on his first day, and we spent a lot of time working together during his very, very stubborn time period. Russ and I got off to a real rocky start. He said that I reminded him a lot of his mother, because I was holding boundaries and telling him what to do, and he didn't want to do it. There was this one time that I had asked him to do something, and he just ran to his room crying and just got so upset about it. But over the time that Russ was at Heritage, he and I came a long way. And like has been said plenty of times, the kid cared about everybody, like anyone in his life. And like Colton said, like new kid showed up at Heritage and Russ was the first one there. Let me tell you all about it. We had, at lunchtime, we have a cafe that's not too big, but Russ and some kids, they used to sit in the corner, like, you know, the little groups in high school do, someone sitting on the floor, and just play music and sing and whatever. And one time this coach, she was like, hey, this probably isn't a good idea in this small space for them to be that loud. And I looked at her and I said, this happens every day. Like, this is normal. This is what these kids like to do. And Russ just like brought that out in the other kids. I was able to spend a couple visits at the hospital while Russ was there. And I just wanted to share with him everything that was going on at Heritage, because we have a recording studio and Russ was very instrumental in helping get things set up. And I would just tell him about how things are progressing there and everything, and just how excited he would be. When we did, I just happened to text one of the other people at Heritage that Deanna had been in contact with one day, and I was like, hey, I haven't heard for a while, how's Russ doing? And Elena let me know what was going on, and I said, we need to get a program completion done for this kid. So Elena and I and a couple other people, we kind of got this together really fast to be able to do it at the hospital. And at the end of that, I got to spend a small amount of time in the room alone with Russ. And that was like the first time I had cried, because I couldn't cry in front of Deanna. But I just remember feeling like this is the last time I'm gonna see this kid. And it was so sad and so hard for me. And this whole situation is hard for everybody. When you work at a place like Heritage, like, you love these kids. Like, I mean, they're almost like they're your own kids. But that was really hard for me. But I'm very grateful that my last time with Russ was helping with that program completion for him, because he worked very hard and it felt like a good closure for him and his family with Heritage. So I'm grateful about that. But Russ and I would have a lot of random conversations. Someone reminded me of Percy Jackson. That was one thing that Russ and I connected on. But I had a conversation with Russ. Had it pulled up, and I gotta do it again. One time about how he wanted to be a superhero. And I'm sure we've all heard Russ's idea of his powers and everything, but this is what he said. He wanted a suit that would stick to things so that he can crawl on the walls and stuff. Something that he could shoot out of his hands that would hit people and then come back to him. And claws that would help him run faster. And the ability to see different wavelengths to help him with his detective skills. Now, Russ may not have all those powers, but with everything that went on with him at the hospital, like, he kind of is a superhero now, because he was able to help, and he'll be able to help plenty of other people in the future. So I think Russ did kind of get his wish of being a superhero and having an amazing life.
Hi, I'm Elena, and I had the honor of knowing and loving Russell again from his first day at Heritage, and got to spend many, many hours in up-close, heart-to-heart conversation with him. And if you don't know this about Russ, he is so willing to be open and vulnerable and share his heart. And I love, Angela, that you talked about that, because how many of us are still trying as adults to be that open and brave and to share our hearts? And I love that about him. In our Heritage remembrances and things we did after Russ passed, it was a common theme, and you've heard it today, that he was the first person to go up and say hi to new students. He was also the first person to go up and say hi to new coaches. We employ a lot of college students, stepping into this job where they want to do good, and it's really nerve-wracking. So to have Russell show up and be like, it's okay, I'll show you the ropes. Like, he was coaching the coaches in how to do their jobs, and left such an impact there. In all my conversations with Russell, there were two main themes that came up for him. And the first one, and you heard it in his cul-de-sac nightmare song, he did not want a boring life. His greatest fear was to live Groundhog's Day. And even in me trying to help him get to school, get good grades, do things consistently, he'd be like, I don't want to be consistent. Like, that's so boring. So as things unraveled for him at the hospital at the end, Deanna and I just smiled and laughed many times that he's definitely not boring. He definitely did not have anything boring going on for him at the end. Russ's other big fear, the second thing, was that he wanted to have an impact on the world. And we would debate this about how big of an impact, as I'm trying to help him make solid, concrete plans for his future. And he had to impact at least 5 billion out of the 7 billion people on the planet. Like, that was his only bar of success. And as it got close to Russell's graduation time, and as we tried to plan for his future and tried to look beyond March, honestly, he and I hit kind of a wall. I know that we've heard lists and things that he wanted to plan in his daydreams, but it was really intriguing to me that neither he nor I could see very far down the road, even to what he'd be doing that fall. And I don't know that there's a plan or anything, but I like to think that maybe he got so much joy focusing on just the here and now, on the relationships he had, on what was happening for him right there at the end. I know that most of you here didn't get to be around Russ as much as those of us at Heritage did in his last couple of years. And so I just wanted to be a voice that lets you know that Russ's last years, his last months, were bright and beautiful and happy, and he was so loved. I could only bring a few people with me here today that love Russ, but he was so loved universally by students, by parents of other students that knew him, that saw him on tours. We have 400 employees on our campus, and most of them know him or recognize him, or he has said hi to them. And he has such an impact there. And he had friends. He was playing music regularly. He got to do at least 3 of these open mic nights at Velour that you saw, that, none of us in our lives know how much time we're going to get. And I can absolutely say that, with normal teenage drama, as happens for anybody, that included, Russ had the biggest, brightest last year of his life that you can imagine, and I'm so honored to have gotten to be a part of it. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I know it's getting late. My name is Leon Matoyer. I'm one of the assistant principals at Orange County School of the Arts, where I met Russell Smiley during the pandemic, where we only had 30, 40 students on campus, and he was standing on a lunch table with a guitar in his hand. I don't want to say anything more. I think you guys have all said such lovely, beautiful things. I just want to take a moment to tell mom, dad, family, everybody that weeping may endure for a moment, and this moment can be long, but I can personally attest that there's joy coming in the morning. So stay faithful. God bless you. Have a great day.
Well, from the looks of it, it seems like we could stay here all night. What beautiful words. What a beautiful life. I think the thing that we've seen in common is that everywhere that Russell went, he was a light. Even when he might have been struggling, maybe when things were tough for him, he was still a light to other people. Days like today are difficult. We have feelings of tremendous loss and at the same time, memories that make us laugh and smile. We can all agree that Russell made a difference in this world, that he impacted people for the better. From the stories, the videos, the pictures that we've seen today, we can all agree that no matter how brief our time here may be on earth, how we run our race is very important. Maybe today you're reminded of the fact that our time here on earth is ever so brief. Whether it's 17 years or 80 years, this life here on earth is short. So what will you do with it? The Bible reminds us that our time here on earth is but momentary, but that the real us, the one that is made in the image of God, will live on for eternity. Paul reminds us that man is 3 parts, a spirit, a soul, and a body. So while we use today to say goodbye to Russell, and we close this chapter of our time spent here physically with him, we are encouraged and we hold on to the hope and the knowledge that Russell truly lives on. In 2 Timothy 4, Paul, writing to his young friend, says this, "For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, and I have kept the faith. There is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me on that day. And it's not only for me, but for all those that come to believe on him. See, for those who know Jesus as their Lord and Savior, the end of their time here on earth is not something to be feared or to be dreaded, because we have a promise of heaven. In John 10:10, Jesus says this, that the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but I have come that you might have life, and have life more abundantly. See, there's a joy, a peace, a love that comes from living your life here on earth as a follower of Jesus, as a Christian. And there's a promise of eternity in heaven once you have made him the Lord of your life. The Bible says that God wants all men to be saved and to come to the knowledge of him. And simply put, God wants a relationship with you. God gave Russell special gifts and talents and the ability to impact lives. And I believe that's why you're here today. Russell changed lives all the way until the end, and I believe he still has the ability to change your life today. Family and friends, would you bow your head and close your eyes with me? If as you sat here today remembering this amazing young man, how he loved you, how he impacted you, maybe you felt a small nudge on the inside. The nudge to make a change, to live a fuller life, to love and make a difference like Russell did. I believe that nudge is our God trying to reach you today, inviting you to enter into a relationship with him, maybe for the first time, or maybe simply turning your heart back towards him so he can truly show you how much he loves you. So with heads bowed and eyes closed today and no one else looking around, if you'd like to enter into a relationship today for the first time or maybe reconnect with your Heavenly Father like never before, would you please take this moment and raise your hand? Once you put your hand up, you can put it right back down. Several. That's awesome. Take your time. I know there's more. As another way that Russell's impacted your life, you can come to a relationship with God today, right here, right now. No one's looking around. It's just me. If you'd like to make Jesus the Lord of your life today, would you simply raise your hand and join the others who have already done so? That's awesome. I see you, bud. I see you, young lady. I see you in the back. Family, there was several that raised their hand today. And simply to make this easy on everyone, I'm going to ask you to repeat this prayer after me. This is just another way that Russell has impacted your life. So family, if you're believers, would you repeat this after me? And those of you maybe for the first time who are returning to Jesus, would you join me? Say, God, thank you for making a way for me to come home. Come on, nice and loud. Don't leave them out hanging, guys. This is an important step in their life. Say, God, thank you for making a way for me to come home. Thank you for loving me, for forgiving me, and for leading me from this day on. I believe you sent your son, Jesus, to pay my penalty. He died for me, so I choose to live for him. I believe in my heart, and I say with my mouth that Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Amen. That's awesome, guys. That's so awesome. Yeah, go ahead. You can give them a round of applause. There were several. You know, if you said that prayer today for the first time, or maybe a recommitment to live out the rest of your days serving our Father in heaven, your hope, your love, your future are all secure in him from this day on. You have a renewed hope and unending promise that when your time here on earth is over, you'll be with Jesus for eternity, along with all of our loved ones who believed on him, waiting there to help welcome us home. I want to encourage you that if you made that decision today to tell somebody, I can think of no greater honor to the family than to know that Russell is still impacting your life here today, and that he made a difference in your eternity. If you have any questions as we go from here, guys, please feel free to come ask. But make sure you tell someone about the commitment that you made today. Family and friends, as we close today, will you pray with me one more time? Father, we love you. We ask you again to comfort each one of us as we miss Russell. Help us to hold on to the memories, to the smiles, to the special moments that we shared with him. Let the remainder of our lives be lived to the fullest and help us to love on others like Russell did. God, we ask you to be with the family and help us to not forget them, but to keep them in our prayers, that you would hold them close, that you would comfort them and surround them with great people who can help them in whatever capacity they may need over the coming days, weeks, months, and years. Help us to never forget the kind, loving, and unique heart that Russell had, and remind us when we see someone sitting alone to go love on them like Russell would. God, we're grateful for the time that we had on this earth with Russell, and we thank you for the lives that he is still changing today. We love you, Lord. We thank you for letting us share in the special life of Russell Jonah Smiley. It's in your wonderful son's name that we pray. Amen. Family, that concludes our service here today, but the family wanted to make sure that you join them for the reception. It's at Harris Creek Golf Club, and it has already started. So make sure to head on down there. The family would love to hear more stories from those of you that didn't share here today. We love you guys, and live for Russell. Amen.
Yes, we're lovers. That is that. Though nothing will keep us together, we could steal time just for one day. We can be heroes forever and ever. What you say? I wish you could swim like dolphins can swim. Though nothing will keep us